2 years ago, everything changed. Becoming a dad didn't make fitness impossible, but it completely changed how I approach it. This episode is about what worked, what didn't, and how my mindset around training, time, and priorities has evolved over the last 2 years. Thank you for tuning into today's episode on the Hybrid Athlete Dad. Super excited to have you listening to today's episode where I'm going to be discussing 2 years of balancing fatherhood and fitness. Now, before I get into today's episode, I like to go over anything in my life that I think that you may find beneficial, you may find interesting, useful when it comes to fitness, nutrition, and everything in between. Everything was going good last week. Monday was good, Tuesday was good, and then Tuesday night hit. Our daughter was crying about 2 in the morning. My wife and I brought her into our bed, and she was off and on sleeping from about 2 to whenever I had gotten up at 4:50 in the morning. So didn't sleep that great. Our daughter was fine, didn't think anything of it. Wednesday comes around, our daughter's at daycare, come home. Our daughter wakes up about 2 o'clock again in the morning Wednesday night, or early Thursday morning, however you want to look at it, but I'll just go with Wednesday night. And okay, let's bring her to our bed, go into her bedroom. She is thrown up on herself and on her bed, so obviously we have to get her out. We have to change her. I have to take her sheets, put them in the laundry downstairs, get that going. So woken up in the middle of the night, again, not expecting our daughter to be sick, and she ended up getting the stomach bug, so she was pretty sick on Thursday. She had thrown up 4 or 5 times, and then on Friday, we kept her home. She was doing better, but we didn't want to send her to daycare if she wasn't feeling 100%. I wanted her to be 100% before we would send her again. So our daughter was sick last week, so running to dealing with that obviously presents some of its challenges on its own. You feel so bad for her when it's time and she wants food and she wants to drink milk, and you tell her she can't have it because it's going to make her sick, but she just can't understand. And you just feel so bad that when she actually does throw up, it's such a terrible situation because she has no idea like what's going on. She's 2.5. So that was just tough to see last week, but she's doing better this week. So you just never know what the week is going to bring. Luckily, she recovered strong. Really, only Thursday was the day that she was really sick and has been doing better each of the last couple of days. Now, when it comes to running wise, it's been cold. One day last week it was 7 degrees when I ran, and then 2 degrees on Friday. And then today, when I woke up in the morning, it was -6. It warmed up a little bit. It was -2 when I went out to go for my run. When I came back, it was still -2. So definitely pretty cold. I find that running in the cold weather presents some of its own challenges, obviously, as would running in the heat. But running in the cold weather, the hardest part is mentally. It's mentally, I'm warm, I'm in my house, it's comfortable. I have to put on these clothes. I have to get outside. I'm going to be outside for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's going to be cold. I'm probably not going to enjoy it. And that's the hardest part, is mentally getting out there when the cold. And then once I'm out there, it's fine, but just the mental aspect of it, day in, day out, as long as you wear enough layers. What helps me is I put some Vaseline on the exposed parts of my face, and I just get out there and I just run. I try to not think about it. I try to just get out the door and get my running in before I have the chance to negotiate with myself or make any excuses. So definitely being a little bit trickier running in the winter. But it's the same from running in 90, 100 degree heat. In the summer, it's going to be different as well. So I just have to take every season, especially where I am in New York, where you typically get the 4 seasons throughout the year. Each season is going to bring something a little bit different, especially when you're running outdoors throughout the year. But if you're hesitant about running in cold weather, it can definitely be done. Just make sure you wear the right layers, you are listening to your body, and just taking it, honestly, just take it a little bit slower, because it is a little bit harder to run, especially today where it's -2. It's a little bit harder to breathe out there with the air, but I make sure that I get it done. Anyways, I'm not here to make excuses. Now, talking about today's episode, which again is 2 years of balancing fatherhood and fitness. Now, with today's episode, so our daughter's not 2 years old, she's 2.5 years old. But it was about 2 years ago in December that I wanted to make a change in my life. I've been working out for a few years. My fault is always gaining weight. I just didn't like the destination that I was going. So the first order of business I did is I hired a nutritionist. Worked with that nutritionist, got my nutrition right, and after working with her for probably about 3 or 4 months or so, dropped from about I was like 185 to 190 down to 170. And it was through part of that journey that I picked up a little bit more cardio, and that path led me down to learning more about what these different hybrid athletes are doing, folks that are running and lifting. So I've been doing this for about 2 years now, and that's how I really got into it. I started small, just started running about a mile or two a few times a week, and then now I'm running typically about 5 miles a day, Monday through Friday, and then adding an 8 to 10 mile run on top of that. And for me, it was just I just wanted to be better for our daughter. I wanted to be in better shape. I wanted to feel better about myself, and I never really expected to go down this road of running and lifting, but it was just working with that nutritionist, getting the diet right. I never really had my diet in check, and working with her, and then eventually, obviously, leading me to discovering folks that are running and lifting and in phenomenal shape. And I think it's because just being a father forced me to get intentional. It's like, okay, what do I really want to be? What do I want to look like when I'm 50, 60 years old? Do I want to be someone that's overweight, that didn't take care of themselves? Or do I want to be someone that looks fit, that someone says they look great for their age? And just really thinking about, like, okay, what type of father do I want to be for my daughter? There's no more training just because I felt like it. It was making sure that I scheduled my training the right way, that I had that schedule put in place, because I couldn't just go to the gym in the morning or during the middle of the day or at the end of the day. Because now I have priorities. And if I can help it, I prefer not to be working out, running, or lifting when my daughter is home unless there's a circumstance that I just can't avoid. That I don't have these unlimited time blocks. My daughter's at daycare every day from about 8 to 4. And outside of that, it's like, okay, when can I train early in the morning? When can I run? Right after I drop her off, there's no more I have this unlimited time throughout my day. I mean, technically I have the time, but do I want to be training when my daughter's home? Do I want to miss out the opportunity? I mean, she's up about 7 in the morning, so I see about an hour in the morning. Get her at 4, put her down at 8, so I get to see her about 5 hours a day. Do I want to tap into that time and not be selfish, but like, I just want to be there for her. I want to spend time with her. I want to make sure that I get these runs in, I get these workouts in, so that way I can still stay and be with her. Now, I want to share lessons with you from just the 2 years of trial and error, so other dads don't have to figure it out the hard way. Now, my first year, I would say first year and a half or so of being a father, training looked very different. Sleep was inconsistent, especially when you have a newborn. You don't know when they're going to be up. There's a month or two stretch where our daughter was up every night from about 11 to 4. That obviously, yeah, that is obviously a little bit challenging. Energy can be unpredictable, and that really goes back to the lack of sleep or how much sleep that you get. That I learned that fitness is about doing something instead of trying to do everything. That sometimes there might be shorter workouts. There's having to be flexible. It's letting go of perfect plans. Sometimes I prefer to go do a 2 hour workout, but if our daughter is sick, I need to help out my wife. I can't just leave her in the middle of the night. It's maybe our daughter's home throughout the entire week because she is sick or whatever that may be. Okay, maybe I get some miles in on the treadmill, get some more miles in outside, so that way I can spend more time with my wife and my daughter and just trying to figure it all out. I remember coming back from the hospital, and I can't remember exactly, but maybe a day or two after I went to the gym and just feeling just absolutely exhausted. And I was just like, okay, I benched 185 last week. Let's just bench it for 5 reps again. And early on, it was just you're so exhausted that it's just like, okay, like I'm just trying to maintain what I'm doing because it's hard for me to push through with a newborn at home. I'm up throughout the night. I'm not used to the sleep deprivation. I know it's still a joke where people say, "Hey, get your sleep now," and you hear it, but like until you actually feel the lack of sleep and the impact that's going to be having on your training, there's just really no way that you can prepare for it. But over time, the baby starts to, and or our daughter, she started to get a schedule. She started to sleep a little bit longer, and it became a little bit easier over time. And at the end of the day, I just learned that consistency beats intensity when life is chaotic, and there's a ton of chaos that comes with having a child that you can't predict. Like I can't control whether she's sick or not. I can't control her moods. I can't control what's going on. In the past, I could control myself, but now I have this tiny little human who's fully dependent on me. So I can go in to the gym and get these run-ins and just be consistent because life it's just going to be very chaotic. Now, when it came to year 2, okay, I'm starting to figure this out. So now I've been doing this running a little bit more. I have this diet down. I have my workouts down a little bit more. It was all about rebuilding that structure in that second year. That early mornings became non-negotiable. It's not like, hey, if I get to the gym at 7 or 7:30 or 8, it's like, nope, I gotta get to the gym. And over the course of time with our daughter, I ended up having to move that time back a little bit. Where right now I'm getting to the gym about 5:30 in the morning because it's a non-negotiable. If I want to make sure that I'm home in time to see my daughter wake up, to be able to make her breakfast, then I have to make sure that I get to the gym at this exact time. It's not, oh, let me sleep in to whenever I want. It's like, nope, this is a non-negotiable. My training windows became a little bit shorter, but they became more focused. Now, instead of having these longer workouts with a lot of sets, it's like, okay, here's what I have to get done today. I'm focused. There's no scrolling on the phone in between sets. It's taking that minute rest, getting right back to it. Now, running and lifting can coexist instead of competing. I always thought the first year that, okay, maybe on the days that I run, I don't lift. On the days that I lift, I don't run. And learning that the best way for me to get ahead is to do both running and lifting on the same day. And that's what I do now is I always run and I always lift on the same day. Maybe it's not the best habit, but that's really what works best for me and what allows me to spend that most time with my family. And I want you to understand that your identity drives your habits more than motivation ever will. Now, what actually worked for me was planning my workouts like meetings. Like, nothing irritates me more than when someone misses a meeting, when someone's late to a meeting, when they're not focused in the meeting. So I plan my workouts like a meeting. I'm focused, I don't miss it, and I make sure that I show up. Training starts the day before. I make sure my clothes are laid out. I make sure I know what workout I'm doing the next day. Every night I lay out what I'm going to be having for breakfast. I lay out what I'm going to be having in my shaker bottle, which is typically creatine, scoop of creatine, and a scoop of electrolytes, and having that every day having the same yogurt, putting the same ingredients in, which for me is collagen. I put in the peanut butter protein powder, and then I also put in a little bit of Elizabeth granola as well. I learned that it's okay that there's going to be imperfect weeks. I would prefer to get all 30 miles every week running outside. Sometimes it just doesn't happen where I have to run maybe 10 miles inside that week. Maybe I want to do another set of biceps, and I more of another exercise of biceps, not just another set, another exercise. Maybe I want to add hammer curls, but the time just doesn't allow it based on what may be going on in our life. Fitness just stopped being an all or nothing pursuit. Like, if I don't get this workout in today, if I don't get this run in today, the whole world's going to end. It's going to be fine. Now, I don't want to build that momentum and have too many days missed, but there's circumstances where my family is the priority, and I want to continue to show up for them. The biggest mental shifts that I had is that fitness isn't competing with fatherhood, it supports it. By working out and running, I have more energy, I have more patience, and I'm setting the example for my daughter because training became something I do because of my dad, not despite it. I want my daughter to know I go to the gym. I want her to know I lift weights. I want her to know that I run. I want her to know that I'm putting these supplements into my body that are supposed to help me. I want her to see that I'm eating clean, again, to help me. And I just want to set that example for her because if I tell her, you should start running, you should start going to the gym, but I don't do any of that on my own, like, why does she necessarily want to do it? I want to just set that example for her. The advice I want to give to new or expecting dads is build routines, not motivation. Motivation only lasts so long. Building my routine is what allowed me to continue to go to the gym week after week, day after day, despite having a newborn, despite all the chaos of having that schedule may be. Accept the seasons of your life instead of fighting them. Sometimes I have more time, sometimes I have less time. Sometimes I feel great running, sometimes I'm wondering what's going on with my runs. And there's these seasons of life, just like there's fall, winter, spring, and summer. Summer seasons are going to be good, some seasons are going to be hard, but continue to push through it, and eventually you're going to get to the next season. And lastly, progress may look different now, but I want you to know that that is okay. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on 2 years of balancing fatherhood and fitness. I hope you tune into next week's episode where I discuss training through the different seasons of fatherhood.